If you're here to see this sweet Jeep assembled and used, then you're in the right place. We're looking at a Jeep Power Wheels. Well, technically it's not Power Wheels. It's made by a company called Hyper Toys, but it's in the Power Wheels section. This is Jeff with Jeff Reviews for You. My channel is dedicated to reviewing mostly as seen on TV items. I look at some consumer gadgets, other household items. Once in a while, I do a little bit of a DIY just because I like to. If that interests you, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel and click the bell below. That way you're notified every time I release a video just like this one. Now, let's unbox, set up, and test out this Jeep Gladiator. There looks to be a small break in the rain for us to put together this Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. Oh yeah. I figured it'd be nice to have the other Jeep right out there next to it. So let's unbox this thing. Now that I've taken it out of the box, I'm going to start unwrapping all of these pieces and check all my parts to make sure I have everything. And then I'm going to start assembling. It took about 20 minutes to unpack everything. And there were some zip ties like underneath here where the axle goes. Let me zoom in on there. Under in here, you have to like cut them and such, so make sure you do all that. They stuff pieces everywhere. I'm really appreciative that they put screws and important things in these orange bags, because if they were in clear bags, you might just throw them away. There's only a handful of screws in there. So, a lot of pieces. Let's start assembling this. First step is to install the axle. So, this is just a bar that goes in. There's a screw hole here and a screw hole down here where you're going to install these screws in. Make sure this piece corresponds with where the steering column will come through. So we're just going to screw this on just like this. And I'm going to do that right now. Just hand tighten it as much as you can on one side, then move over to the other side. Now that they're hand tightened, I'm going to get a drill and a wrench and tighten these down. Now we install our front wheel. They call for the washer to go next. Then they want us to put on our latch pin. And that's just this little thing. So you pinch it together and it expands. We're going to pinch it to expand. And push it right on. Don't forget to put on your Jeep logo. Pretty sweet. Now let's go put on the other wheel. Next step is installing the rear axle and wheels. So I've turned it upside down. I do have it on a piece of styrofoam. I should have mentioned that earlier. I did not notice these zip ties, so I'm going to cut those off now because that will move the motor freely, and then we'll install our axle. Now that our zip ties are off, I'm going to take this axle, go through this motor, through this hole, through the body, and through the other motor. Now we are going to install our rear wheels. The only difference is we start with a gear sleeve. This just slides in. Make sure it seats within the gear. We're going to install our wheel and making sure this part here goes in the gear sleeve. Once it's in the gear sleeve, you put on your washer. And then your latch pin. You might notice that this axle is sticking out. I'm just going to push it in so it goes to the other side. And then we finish it off with our Jeep logo. Now that logo snapped into place, we do the same thing on the other side, and we have all four wheels done. So tell me, what do you think of the assembly thus far of this Jeep Gladiator? I think it's going pretty well. I will say I don't like it when companies put this right in their directions. Do not return to the store. Stop. If this doesn't work, I'm absolutely returning it to the store. That's not going to be my issue. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. All four wheels on, and this Jeep is really taking shape. Now we're going to be putting on our front bumper, so back up it goes on its rear wheels. So I have the Jeep back up on end, and you can see this part of the bumper part right here from here to here. That's actually going to push into this hole in the top, and then these holes in the front, 1, 2, 3, are going to line up with these corresponding holes to screw in. So let's put it in. And now screw it in. Now let's install the steering column. This part's pretty easy. We're going to take this end piece here, stick it through there where the steering column is. Make sure it slides right in. And then goes through this part right here on the axle, and there you go. Now we're going to put the vehicle down on its wheels, but make sure this doesn't fall down because we have to attach the steering wheel. Before you put your steering wheel on, you have to take out the screw and bolt because this actually slides through the axle that we just put on. So go ahead, take that out, and then slide it on and reattach. First things first, attach the wire. And then we stuff that wire down the hole. It's a little stubborn. And we put our steering wheel on, and then we put our screw through. We had to move inside because it started raining, but our next step is installing the cabin panel. I want to make sure that I get these clips into the corresponding holes, but just slides right down here. I've located the orange bag that had 2 screws in it, so one of them was going to go here and one of them is going to go there. Now I cannot reiterate enough, make sure you set those orange bags aside. They are easy to just throw away if you're not paying attention. I realized I skipped a step. I forgot to put the shifting knob on. So really all you do is there's a line right here at the top that just slides right in and snaps into place. Done. There is a difference between the right seat and the left seat. So the right seat is here, the passenger seat. So what you're going to do first is you're going to tilt it backwards like this, catch it into here. Once it's caught in there, you can move it in and then put the screws here and here. Let's do that now. So I took 2 screws out of the bag of 4 for the seats, and I'm going to screw one in the front, or I'm sorry, they're both in the front, but one on the left and one on the right. The left seat, or the driver's seat, is more challenging to install than the other side, and that's because it has a little bar that you can actually move the seat back and forth like in a typical car. That's kind of cool, right? But it just makes it more difficult to install. So what we're going to do first is we're going to slide these pieces here in the front. See those holes? So I tilt the seat forward, push it down in place. Now, I have to get to the screws behind here, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slide the seat forward. And that reveals screws down here. Now you might notice my screws are already in. I figured it's easier to put them in now and then reach a screwdriver down there and screw it in than to try to stick one down there without falling. So now I'm just going to screw those in and our seats are installed. It's time to install the left and right windows. So what I'm going to do is get my window now, put it into place, push it right down. Now I'm going to go do the other side. Once you have both windows in, you locate the orange bag that has 6 little screws, and there are 3 spots on each door that get screwed in to keep that window in place. So make sure you do it on the left door and the right door. Now we put our tailgate on. It just has these plunger pieces on each side. You push them in. They click right in. There you go. Let's move on to our roll bar. To assemble the roll bar, you slide the cross piece into the side piece, Get it in there real good. Hear that snap? Again, line it up, push it down. Sometimes you really got to push it in there, but it fits snugly. The final pieces to install is the front windshield and then the side mirrors. The mirrors go on the door. Now we charge the battery. The directions tell us it has a full charge from the factory, and I'll be honest, I hit the power button and I got a very little noise for a fraction of a second, and then it shut off. So I do like how it has these clamps here. We open it up, and our battery is actually hardwired in. The directions do tell us to charge for 9 to 10 hours before first use, so this must have been sitting for a while, because it also recommends doing that at least every 30 days. So you need to make sure you take off the top here to the battery cover. Here's your battery. They have this part disconnected. You need to have that hooked up, otherwise the unit will not work. Now you can assemble this back together, putting the screws back that were already in there, and then charge it for the 10 hours that it requires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this wire in over to that port. That red light means we are charging. The maiden voyage is a success. Although it is a lot slower than I thought it was. Boy, was that disappointing. This thing moved slow, and I mean slow. So it has two speeds. It has low and high. Low is 2 miles an hour, high is 5 miles an hour, and reverse is 2 miles an hour. Now that's different than the Power Wheels dyno that I installed or put together not that long ago, which has a max speed of 6 miles an hour. And I guess that 1 mile an hour difference really does make the difference. Now it's cool that you can haul things around and put things in the truck and 2 people can use it, but we did notice the speed was kind of slow. I also will say, from time to time, it would just shut off. Now, I don't know if that's a feature, which would be strange, but we could start it right back up and keep going. And it was pretty infrequent, so infrequent that I couldn't actually catch it on video, but I did want to let you know about that. I hope you enjoyed this installation video and maybe it helped you out. This is Jeff with Jeff Reviews for You. As always, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a great day. You know what? I should say, during this video, I did reference the dyno Power Wheels vehicle that I put together not that long ago. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link that video right up here, and I would love it if you would click on this link. And by the magic of the internet, when you click right up here, I'm going to join you at that video. So go ahead, click it. It's safe. I promise.